Good morning and welcome back to class. Today, you will learn production possibility curve. This tutorial is split into two. This tutorial is split into three. The first part 1, introduction of production possibility curve. Part 2 is built on part 1. And part 3, which is a practical application of the production possibility curve, is built on part 1 and part 2. Without wasting time, grab your writing materials. Let's begin. Production possibility curve is otherwise called the transformation curve, that is TF. It is also called the production possibility frontier. So when you see the PPC, production possibility curve, and you see the TC, the transformation curve, and the PPF, production possibility frontier, they are the same thing. What is the production possibility curve? The production possibility curve is a diagram or a graph that shows the maximum possible combination of two commodities an economy can produce with a given resources and a level of technology. That is to say, the production possibility curve is a diagram that shows the maximum possible combination of two goods an economy can produce using a given resources and a level of technology. That means that there are two commodities that can be produced, and the resources is given. There's no way you can add additional resources, and the level of technology also was given. The maximum possible combination of two goods that an economy can produce with a given resources and level of technology. It is only two goods that can be produced. Now let us take an imaginary production possibility diagram or production possibility graph, and we will explain some important points in that diagram. Now, this is an imaginary or arbitrary production possibility curve diagram. Now, in this diagram, we are going to illustrate an economy producing only two commodities, granules and cocoa. Now, we have to fix at some points in this diagram. We have to fix the point of origin, point O, then the x-axis, x, and also the y-axis, that is y. Now, if you watch this economy, if you watch this economy, there's an economy, there's some combination on the line, OX, the line OS is for the production of granules. That is, the x-axis is for the production of granules. So we are going to label it granule. Granule is a commodity produced from the point of origin O to X. So we write granules. Granule is one of the commodity. We have only two commodities in that economy that is being produced. Then the points OY, that is the Y from 0 to Y, we use it to represent the production of cocoa. O to Y, we use to represent the production of cocoa. And so we say OY is equals to what? Cocoa. OY is equals to cocoa. And we get to that place and write it and label it cocoa. That is, x-axis is for groundnut, y-axis is for cocoa. Now we are going to explain 3 important points in this production possibility curve. We are going to explain 3 important points, and we are also going to discuss those points that are on the curve. Now, the 3 important points on the production possibility curve. 3 important points on the production possibility curve. There is a point along the line, along the curve, and we can take another imaginary point inside the curve and one other point outside the curve, and we are going to explain what this point means. Now, point 1, point A, B, C, D, at this point along the curve, that is, point along the curve is point A, point B, point C. This one I'm pointing, point C, point D. This one I'm pointing, and also point D. This point or a point along the production possibility curve. Now, what did this point signify? That is, production is on the production possibility curve. This point shows that this economy is efficiently utilizing resources. That is the point A, B, C, D, and E in the economy is the various combination of the production of cocoa and groundnut. And at this point along this line, resources are efficiently utilized. Resources are efficiently utilized. There is full employment. No resources is lying waste. All resources are put in use. That is point A, point B, point C, point D, and point E. Resources are fully utilized. Full employment, no unemployment. All resources are put into use. There is no space, there is no unused resources. That is what that line, or the point in the curve, that is what it represents. Now we are going to take another imaginary point inside the curve. That is point 2. Any point inside the curve. Any point inside the curve represents inefficient use of resources. Now let us assume a point, say point G. A point G inside the curve, and inside point G inside the curve, this point is inside the curve. It means that resources are not efficiently utilized. It shows unemployment. It shows that some resources are lying idle. There is space for expansion. This economy at this point have lost productive capacity. Resources are not fully utilized. A state where there is unemployment of resources or underutilization of resources. That is point G. Then we take another point outside the production possibility curve, say point H, outside the production possibility curve. Point H, outside the production possibility curve, which is this point. Point H, this point I'm circling, yes, is the point outside the production possibility curve. it means that point is not attainable because resources and the level of technology will not be able to attain that point. That is the point. Those are the important points on the production possibility curve. Now, it is worthwhile to explain the movement from one point to another on the production possibility curve. If you look at point A, B, C, D, and E, it shows the allocation of resources to either the production of groundnuts or the production of cocoa. Now, if this economy if this economy is producing at point C, that is at point C, you discover that 2 units of 2 tons of groundnut is produced, while 70 tons of cocoa is produced. Now, if this economy wants to increase the production of groundnuts, this economy will shift to point D. Downward shift from point C to point D means the increase in the production of groundnuts, and there will be resources allocated to groundnuts, while resources allocated to cocoa at this movement will also reduce. Also, if the economy is producing at point C and the economy wants to increase the production of cocoa, this economy will move to point B. At point B, that is upwards, you discover that 80 tons of cocoa is produced, while 1 ton of groundnut is produced. The more resources allocated to one of these products, the less resources become available for the production of the second product. That is to say, there can be no increase in the production of groundnut unless there is a reduction in the production of cocoa.
You carry lights.
And there can be no increase in the production of cocoa unless there is a reduction in the production of groundnut. And this is as a result of scarcity of resources. I mean, production of cocoa cannot be increased without a decrease in the production of groundnut, and vice versa. Now let us go and take a look at some of the assumption of the production possibility curve. The production possibility curve, or the production possibility frontier, or the transformation curve. Now, there are about 5 or 6 assumptions of the production possibility curve. One of the assumptions is resources are fixed. That means resources are not enough. They are fixed. There's an amount of resources for the production of these 2 commodities. That is one. The second assumption is that the level of technology is constant. The level of technology is constant. Now, let us take it one after the other. The first assumption, resources are fixed in quantity. Resources are fixed in quantity. That is the first assumption. The second assumption, the level of technology is constant. At this point, there's no improvement on technology. Technology remains constant. Now, When the technology remains constant, it means that there's no improvement in the level of what technology. The next assumption is that only two commodity is produced in that economy. From the imaginary economy that we were illustrating with, we have only cocoa and granite as the commodity produced in that economy. Now the fourth allocation, resources are fully utilized in the production of the two commodity, granite and cocoa. And the fifth assumption, our resources are not equally efficient in the production of both commodity. That means you cannot use the same amount of resources to produce 2 tons of cocoa and 2 tons of what? Granite. They are not equally efficient. That is what it means. For instance, if you say you want to produce 20 tons of cocoa, you can't assume that the same resources you will use in producing 20 tons of cocoa is the same resources you will use in producing 20 tons of granules. Now, the shape of the production possibility curve. The PPC is downward sloping from the left to the right, usually concave to the origin. It's downward sloping from the left to the right. Usually it is concave to the origin. This is because as more of one commodity is produced, less of the other commodity will be produced. This leads us to opportunity costs. So an opportunity will be, one of these commodity will be given up. Some quantity of this commodity will be given up, will be sacrificed for the production of the other commodity. That is where opportunity comes in, and it will be explained later in this tutorial, in part 2. So, as long as one of these commodity is increased, in the production of one of this commodity is increased, there will be less production of the other commodity. There will be less production of the other commodity. There will be less production of the other commodity, and it is where opportunity costs come in. That is why it says that is why it said that as long as one of the commodity is increased, then the other commodity, some of the quantity of the other commodity will be sacrificed. And this is when opportunity costs come into the production possibility curve. Now, we do not want this tutorial to be so bulky. We want to end this tutorial. Do not forget to share, like, and subscribe to our channel. And do not forget to watch out for the second tutorial, which is built on this first tutorial. On that tutorial, we are going to take a critical look at the shift of the production possibility curve and the practical application of the production possibility curve. Thank you for learning with us.